What's up, everybody? I'm back again, and this is day 7 of the Club Open Scrims. I mean, you must be watching in the past few weeks. I mean, this is week 4 now. We have basically 2 days every week. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we have these Club Open Scrims. Of course, I am your host and caster for today, Professor Tarzan, and you know what? Maybe you've been watching, not just this one, but PMCO UK, and of course, if you did, right, that was me there as well. Same guy, a bit of a different outfit, a bit more chill. Of course, I had Highland Wolf as my friend and co-caster for that one. But for today, of course, it's just myself. I think this is my 4th day, right, doing this. And of course, you might have been also watching Maxman30's cast. He is the co-caster who is basically splitting this Club Open Scrims with me, so it will be him tomorrow as well. So do go over to his channel and start subscribing, following, and make sure you're there tomorrow for more actions. So day 7, we have a good amount of teams as usual, 16, and hopefully we get some better so-called attendance, because you know what, it's not easy to get this caliber of practice, right? Because it's the official scrims, we've got tournament rooms and stuff like that. And so shout out to the production team, Starladder, and all the officials for making this possible. And since it's the European scrims, we have teams who have performed decently well in that spring split that just happened like roughly a month or so ago. So they will be invited, and they have been invited to play these Club Open Scrims, and that is basically the only reason why you are going to see them. Some names you might not have heard before, because of course we've got teams maybe changing their names, finding new teammates, and etc. But if they were all basically from that prior split doing decently well as finalist players, then they do have a shot, and they may get to showcase their skills in these scrims. Very good practice, I think, and very different to other scrims when you have tournament room, when we talk about kill feed awareness and stuff like that. It's a bit different, right, when you have a tournament room. So today we will have 4 matches once again. The match order is as follows. We have Miramar, then we go over to the jungle of Sandhawk, then we've got 2 back-to-back Erangel games. So that classical map will continue to be very, very important in this season. Karakin is the name, I think, new map. I haven't played it yet, so you know what, just busy, but I want to explore that one. Don't think we'll get them in competitive PUBG soon, but you know what, I may speak too soon. And of course, Vikendi is gone. I think it's completely gone from the game. That is such a shame, because it's a very fun map. I think it adds a lot of colors to it. And you know what, without further ado, let's go through the teams we have for today. So these 4 games, a lot of these teams, you've seen it already. So just according to the slot order, right? In slot 1 we have Take Over, Take Cover. I already screwed up already, don't mind me. But in Team 2 we have Pen Most Wanted, then we have Entropic, Royal Knights, Heroes, Conqueror DE, NERA, WSK, Execution UK, IMPERIA, RENGERS Team, Daos Legion, xteam, F1 Gaming, SNAKEsquad, and BeMyLOOT. So of course, a lot of these teams, if we get to see that, how should I say it? What's the name? The leaderboards, right? You'll be able to see quite a few of these teams on there. Yes, they've been performing decently well, but it could be also due to the amount of games that they played so far. Not a lot of teams show up every week, or not every team get to play every day of these Club Open Scrims. So a few teams to mention for sure. Entropic, high up top. I believe that their point average is still up to 12 or 13 points, and that is crazy. If you think about it, consider 13 points. Let's say it's 13 points. That means every game on average they make a 3rd place with 3 kills. And it's not a bad one, and it's very hard to stay consistent. So that point average is what we want to see and look at here for these scrims. Otherwise, if you just over rely on the ranking, right, I think it wouldn't give us the best idea of how well the team's been doing. So Entropic definitely up there. We also have xteam, like very, very strong until last the last day, right? So in day 6, I think their point average gone down quite a bit. I believe they only got around 20-ish, like 30 points, compared to maybe the day 1 was like 88 points. So that is something to look at when it comes to the issue of consistency, but it could also become of the roster that they're sending to play these scrims. And from my connection with the community and the teams that I know a lot of teams can't send the best 4 players, or barely sending a full team. Sometimes that's why we see some trios, for example. And so xteam will be looking at that. Daos Legion almost made it to PMPL Europe West, right, from the European wildcard region. Speak of region, so we have teams from multiple PMCO regions. We've got the UK, we've got France, Germany, Turkey, and the European wildcard. So that is a good amount of teams. And of course we see some of them again and again, and some of them we don't get to see them, so-called, because they are playing the PMPL scrims casted by my good friend and mentor. Should I say that? Mentor? Yeah, he did teach me a lot, and that person is Imperium, so he will be casting the PMPL Europe West scrims as well. So stay around, have a look, support, and have some good fun looking at some teams play, and you may be able to see some difference between the two levels of play. After all, PMCO teams are trying to make it to the top 3 or 4 of their regions so they can represent the region to go to PMPL. Not quite the case yet, but if they practice consistently, like through these few months of different sort of scrims, tournaments, and these official scrims, if you are planning to follow like me and Maxman through these coming weeks and months, so you'll be able to see what teams might be doing well in that 4 split. I think 4 split time frame is around early August, so do stay around, okay? And if you are playing, all the best with your new team, old team, whatever you want to call it. So we will have some small technical things to adjust later on. We're just waiting for that game screen now, and when I head over there later on, I still need to what we call interact with the screen a little bit, so I can bring out the full screen, make sure audio is okay, that the video quality is okay as well, so everyone got a nice, smooth, and clean feed of that game. So whatever you see, I see. I don't get a map stream or anything. So if you want, you know what, I haven't talked about this before, but interestingly, if you want to become a caster and you thought about, oh, maybe I'm good enough to try it, then you know what, do it with me, because it's real time. I will be, whatever you're watching, I'm watching the same with nothing extra. So we are going to head over to that game screen now as I tweak these a little bit, and you understand what I mean, right? So this is the screen. I would need to go to here, make sure we have the brilliant quality, and that seems to be the case. Make sure that the audio is okay, and seems like that is all good. And now we are on that full screen, and just can't wait any longer. Game 1, let's go. Let's bring down that music slowly as well, as we appreciate this playing path and the teams that we have. So pretty southern playing path, basically going off the north of Impala, through the north of Los Leones, all the way to Valdemar. So that makes some of these drop spots a lot harder to reach. I know Monte Nuevo is the drop for one of our very, very good team, and that is going to be xteam. So we may see them going back to the comfortable drop spot. Entropic, for us to maybe find out further. I want to know what they are actually trying to do in that one, so we will need to find out still. And interesting when it comes to names of the players as well. Seems like we've got a bit of a mix. That one that stood out to me is Daos Legion, with 2 players in there carrying the Scrim Farm team tag. So southern playing path, spots like El Pozo hard to reach, San Martin just enough, but doesn't matter. Will that be the plan? Because that phase 1 circle is very, very southern, placing a lot of these teams right in this circle already, and we can see some very different drop spots coming through as well. Penn Most Wanted, a team that like going to maybe the more northern parts of the map, would go for something that's untouched. So maybe it's about going to, getting uncontested in that phase 1, and luckily it's not far from the zone at all. Like Los Egos is actually in the phase 1 circle. I mean, how often can we actually say that? And of course, we also have the teams who like to go to northern side. Now they need to find out how committed they want to be going there, because it would take time for them to go away from that plane path and come back into the south side for that phase 1 circle. So a little bit of congestion around Chimacera already, and we can see the trio from the team of Heroes in here against the team of BeMyLOOT. So BeMyLOOT, a team that did pretty well in multiple regions, a team that made it to the previous PMCO semi-finals. We're talking about 2020, because in 2021 we don't have a semi-final, so making it a lot more harsh for the teams to make it through to the next stage. So Chimacera is a very interesting drop, and you can see two teams dropping on that south side, which is the top hilly side of it, which I completely understand why. And let's bring ourselves over to Los Leones, because we have two British team in there. RENGERS back to their comfort spot, right? But they have not had, an easy start whenever they go to Los Leones on Miramar, because teams like dropping there around them, they're forced to take some early fights. It didn't work out so well for them in the past few weeks, I should say. So let's see whether they can make out of that alive, because very close to them we had Execution UK. Then we also have another team to the northwest side of Los Leones. So three teams around that area, but very big city, right? So it's down to them to see how they can outplay each other, and also never forget about the importance of those vehicles. And just at this level of play, arguably it's like tier 1, solid tier 1, and they should really know how to prioritize that and make sure it's going to work in their favor. Otherwise, in the map, like Miramar, a lot of open terrains, huge map that requires a lot of rotation. They may not be able to make out of some of those spots alive. And very interesting maneuver here, BeMyLOOT opting in to go to that north part, the lower hill part of Chimacera. Well, the problem with going, and people would know, right, there's a lot more loot to that north side, and you wonder why pro teams don't like going there. And I can tell you my idea of it, because with that relative high ground on that south side, although the loot is not so great, you can have a lot of risk-free scouting, right? Just third-person peek. You can track every bit of movement, and you can, if you have your teammates around just tracking that movement with you, you can just spray someone down when they're leaving a building, and people on the lower hillside of Chimacera won't even know that they're being looked at. But meanwhile, we already have one kill coming through. So 16 teams, very healthy amount of players and amount of teams, at least, because sometimes we get 11, 12. We've got actually 16 teams, so that is a great one to cast. It will add a lot more pressure to teams, a lot more action, I'd say, so can't complain about that. So Conqueror DE is the other team in the South Los Leones, but seems like they're respecting each other's positions for now. So yeah, No Limits lost. I think No Limits is the old name of team number 10, IMPERIA. So yeah, not really subbing, not really trialing, just a little bit of a name change issue. And we can see how IMPERIA is feeling that little bit of pressure around Al Asaha. Seven Sins took that first kill off the game, and they may clash again on that northeast side of the circle. And WSK went all the way, right? Uncontested loot around Tierra Blanca, Campo Militar. Pick up 1 or 2 more boost. 5 more bandages, enough for you to tank it. It will allow a lot of security in the early phase. But how often can I say this? Look at that small island. Split loot from the side of Pen Most Wanted. No one's really touching that. That is basically spawn. You know where you run around when you start a map in Miramar? That is where they're going. And can't complain. I think it's a good drop if it's unexpected. But if teams go there, right, very habitually, if they just go again and again and people know it, then it's very easy to hunt you down. But we have SNAKEsquad trying to put some pressure onto F1 Gaming, and they will just casually spray this one down, catching people on rotation, controlling this position, no problem. KTA should be the name, right? I don't know whether there's another way to pronounce it, and of course, as a caster, that's something that I would definitely need to learn as I go, is players' names. Okay, a lot of them don't change their names through the careers, okay? But sometimes people want a bit of a change, new energy, the feeling of fresh. Is that the way to say it? My English is kind of like not so great today, just but there we go. That was a good one, secured by SNAKEsquad, and I mean, it's a name that we know for a very, very long time in the scene, in the MENA region, and now in the European region, not scared to show what they're made of, and the SNAKEsquad will hold strong for now. And the Execution has found themselves a knock as well onto well, the clan tag is, or the team tag is like a Nostra Power, but I don't believe that we have a like a Nostra Power in here, so it must be a substitute or a trial player. And we will continue to have some clash right here in Shumasera. Seems like Hermanus is not scared to just loop around and come downhill to join the side of BeMyLOOT. The trio are not scared to position around. Maybe this is a pincer formation, as you see on that top right there on that minimap. It's a little bit of triangular formation, not quite covering the eastern side, but you know, that is very, very open. That's just the road side, so you can actually see Marins is the name, and Marins just holding that one, and he can get a lot of info with zero risk unless he peeks too far. And this is going to be interesting because we talked about xteam, and they're actually for Back for Mercy carrying Unicorns of Love team tag, but you know what, for that team is actually xteam and looting up the usual spot, now rotating wide from the Monte Nuevo side into this hill area around Ambientes del Val, and should be able to access the south half of the circle without much congestion. But you can already see the side of, okay, I do remember now, LM Power, no, you know what, my is doing my head in. I don't understand which team that is, so we will find out later on. But we can all definitely see the side of Execution UK finding a knock onto, that is team 3, so that is Entropic. So Entropic, are they picked up by like a Nostra Power? Am I tripping, or is that just a team subbing in? So we need to find out, but I'll go by the team tags. If it's a full team of like a Nostra Power, then it is like a Nostra Power. And I mean, out of the like a Nostra network, that is a team that, you know, is known to a lot of players in our community. Seems like the side of Heroes still trying to make something work, trying to put some pressure on BeMyLOOT, but the clock is ticking. We've got 15 seconds to go until they have to move out of here. The phase 2 circle continue to center over the last one, still on the very southeast part of that map. You know what, I do miss having a co-caster. My voice is getting dry already, so just going to grab a sip of water. But meanwhile, look at BeMyLOOT taking that knock with, this is a problem, like with the formation of Heroes. There's no way to really trade for that. When you are taking an overlook like that, like Oma, you just cannot get knocked. If you do, then you're just essentially useless. Your team will just get pinched, and that is the importance of... Oh my lord! What the hell, man? Why is with the close range quick scope maybe? With the Winchester headshot in, you know what, 20 meters, I respect that. That is a good play. Like, who would think about doing that, right? But maybe it's an ego play. Like, maybe that's the thing that he realizes on his hand, and this is a time for Marines to maybe alleviate some pressure. But I think that is pretty much done, you know? Just get out of there. You can still get some placement points. Show us how you can get some decent points per game. And when it comes to the stats in this Club Open Scrims, losing those two already, giving two to BeMyLOOT, and time to go, buddy. Like 5 bandages, no other meds. A good scope on that mini, but you know what? Those 5 bandages will be consumed, completely done in the matter of minute or so. But so, you know what? They may just want to take it. Seems like slot 3 is not Entropic. It's going to be like a Nostra Power. Just coming in, maybe Entropic can't make it. And like a Nostra Power would say, I'll happily take this 2. For practice, you know. And the TK is in here, so we've seen this name around the teams of MVP Gaming, I believe. So and we have a team called Lucky Nostra MVP, right? So between the Lucky Nostra organization and MVP Gaming, they have this partnership, and they had made a very good team that made it to the PMPL Europe West from the British PMCO. So we have this phase 3, and it's going to add a lot of spice to it, pulling away from I should say half of the Los Leones city, so adding a lot of positions for these teams to play around the hillside. And Pen Most Wanted will need to come in to the southern edge and first go through the side of xteam, because xteam just knows how to use the position. We've seen that again and again, and we want to see how they control this, what their favorite spot is in the circle. So basically, a Western hardship is not easy for these teams to find a way in, especially when you are around Los Leones. Going through those buildings are so tricky. It's always, you know, possible that there's some players around in those buildings keeping completely silent and punishing whoever goes through them. So the type of circle shifts, the shifts away from a city, is always very interesting. We see a lot of the teams play style. You can have someone staying behind on the edge of the city to, you know, take some knocks whilst the rest are in the circle. They may want a full team to go into the circle, just completely pull away. So these styles of teams are something that I'm very interesting to see and explore. So it seems like on this Los Leones side still, on the eastern of the circle, we still have players from Execution UK. RENGERS still in here, dropped here, stayed here. 7 Sins got some early kill, or 2, I believe, and now are coming in on that eastern side. SNAKEsquad will feel some pressure from the side of might as well call them Scrim Farm now, because Daos Legion is the team registered for this. But we have 3 players carrying that tag, and then KTA is a little bit, had a bit of a misplay. There's a closer player they put up on his left, but he dealt with the easy to shoot at someone further, and that would just be them done. The first team out of this is SNAKEsquad. After taking 1 kill, they will fall to Daos Legion at 16th place. Speaking of that sip of water, haven't even done it yet. What am I doing? Right. Oh, much needed there. And so yeah, a few teams in Los Leones still, and we definitely can see what's going on in here. Seems like the side of xteam is facing the side of Pen Most Wanted, and will first take 1 kill by the explosion and get a following knock into here as well. Deadly with his deadly position, trying to nade all the openings. You have to move now. Okay, that can be so punishing. He might just get this solo wipe, basically. All those pre-nades in there, knocking 2, and they have already finished 1. The pick up is there, but they just need to heal up now. Now they have to feel the push from the side of xteam. It's just 2 versus 2 right now. The rest of the team may come through soon, and a little bit of a jump shot trying to come through. They are trying to hold this down still, and look at Deadly still trying to hold that angle, but the players got pushed back, and this is them coming in, but logically maybe getting this. The last one's finished as well, and that is Sarah needing to make it work, but the push out there was not quick enough, as Pen Most Wanted fall to the side of xteam at 14th place. And I mean, like, we've seen what xteam can do before. When you give them, you know, an inch, they would take a mile. And they just know how to hold these positions when they get into. They know exactly what their job is. They know what split they're going for. They know how to control a whole segment or pocket of position. And that is something very nice to see. And I'm still thinking about, look at that screen there. Insania is still around, but he's just established an entry point, I think. The rest of the Execution UK squad still need to come in from the eastern edge. And this is the tricky thing with City plays, right? It's phase 4, and they're all kind of just choked around it. It's not even easy to loop out of the city, you know, to enter a new spot. So me personally, when I used to play, I find these very, very tricky, and I tend to avoid the buildings. But you know what? Maybe I don't know Los Leones well enough, and that might be the reason why an X team, after taking some of their early, you know, victories, and I feel like I said this so many times just because of how good they've been, other than that last day that they played. So RENGERS dropped in Los Leones, will hold Los Leones. This zone will actually go towards Los Leones, so that is a lot of interesting city finishes that we get to see. TK will try to punish the side of the RENGERS, and RENGERS should know this map. Okay, I should say this city, this drop, better than anyone else, because they just drop here regardless. Okay, this is their drop, but this is the thing. I always say, just because you drop there doesn't mean you know it well enough to play it in the end game. And I think a good team should know how to play a city. Like, if the circle keeps going to your drop, you should know how to play it, because why would you take that spot? Why would you take that drop if you don't know how to play it? So that should be the map knowledge in there to justify why they take that spot. And if it's given to them, like now, going to Los Leones, this is a time for them to out-knowledge someone else and therefore outplay them. So we have Execution in here, sharing all these, you know, with the many other teams. We have the side of NERA in here as well. NR is the team tag. They are on that middle zone right now, and just on the outskirts, right to the west of Los Leones. WSK went for that wide rotation, just followed that eastern road and come back into the circle, avoided so many actions and made it to 12. That is the first point from the placement points there. So 8 to 12, you get 1 point of placement point. It's going to be interesting because just look at the circle. It's taking, you know what, there's no easy circle regardless, okay? And for this to go towards the northern side with some buildings still in play, that is a nice thing to see. I'm looking forward to see how those 3 Scrim farm players play this on that northern side. And with those high grounds, they get to overlook a lot of these teams. Tracking those movements, problem is, right, if they ever get some kills or knocks, it may be hard to finish if people are in buildings, or they're just too far to loot them up. So they need to know how to hold this spot, and maybe sending one to the most northern bit of the building would help for them to re-enter the circle if it shapes away from that north side. And this is time when we see teams try to fight, right? That south side is going to be crazy. Every team's trying to come in. We can see WSK still opting for a bit of a wider rotation, avoiding a direct entry into there, and will come back in on the east side. And meanwhile, F1, after losing 1 player as well as taking 1 kill, they are holding the side. Made with multiple teams. The side of Takeover is in here, and we also have X team trying to go through and avoid the side of F1 to enter from the western side, and that is F1 trying to strike, and that is Takeover losing another one. It seems like BeMyLOOT will be breached right there and will get finished as well. Clady losing his life to Andy, but BeMyLOOT, X team I should say, lost one and another one knocked. They just need to really hold this still, but this type of entry is not easy. What they can rely on at least is the 7 kills that they already got. If you think about it, is like let me do that math, right? It's 5th place with like 1 kill already, but they are not even done yet. And RENGERS are in here to hold multiple spots. Trying to run past them directly is the side of F1, but the luck won't be on their side as they feel the wrath of the multiple teams in that circle. And BeMyLOOT lost Clady when they got breached by X team, but look at Wiseco with a really good play. We saw him using that Winchester close range to make some work done. Now continue to be the reason why X team cannot get out of this easily. Deadly is not, I believe, and but BeMyLOOT, Wise, the last one standing, trying to get that kill point, but will be found by another team. Very tricky landscape, and we know this north part of Los Leones, and especially from that western side is entering from low ground to high ground, and that is why it's so hard to play. And we can see NERA just holding those center spots buildings. They just really need to know when to take a fight. That's all it takes to, you know, take a good placement out of their position. Execution also need to fight their way in from that eastern side, and Farah in here trying to do some work, and he has the option to go to use those staircase for the high ground. But this is the type of situations and end circles that you just can't give, you know, any audio cues if you didn't have to. But look at Farah with that spray through the smoke as well, with the barrel holding it really strong, not scared to just push it. Will the reinforcement be here? WSK will need to find another one, and Farah with that brilliant reflex will just take it anyway, taking the third kill, taking out the side of WSK at 9th place. Just like wise play, knowing the defensive angles, knowing where the support could come in, execution moved in bit by bit, and they will have some cover as well to that eastern side. So that will be very, very interesting for us to see. So the circle will do a lot of damage later on. Look at the separation between the buildings. There's some trees, a little bit of broken walls, but that's about it for these teams to use if the circle ever shift away from them. Conqueror DE now choked in one building. Looking at them is Mad OP from NERA. The squad of Trio will make it to top 7 so far with 1 kill. And if they know how to hold the spot, they can definitely take more. I think it's a potential top 3 finish for them, just based off that position advantage in the center zone right now. F1 not giving up yet. The last player will take one, will take the second, finishing one, maybe the last one coming into his pocket as well. Just playing patiently, and we'll try to find Nero, is that the name? And we try to flush that guy as well. So 1v1 situation right here on this edge, but you know what? The circle will not be in their favor. So you know what? Take an ego 1v1. That's something that I like to see. All those practice, what are they for? And that will have a little bit of the nice one, a little bit of maneuver. That is a cheeky one. Almost took it with the Scar L, and we'll challenge it once again. Scar L versus Tommy Gun. This is Team 4 versus Team 14, and that is F1 taking out 7 Sins at 7th place. So many 7s down there, and I just love it. Give me, you know what, if they have 17 kills as well, that would be spot on. But this is the type of circle that we would expect for this type of lobby. You know what? If it's a PMPL lobby, I would expect 10, 11 teams still. Teams just so good at knowing how to survive. And RENGERS, I did mention they should show up in here, especially when the circle's going to them continuously. I think making it to top 6 is a good enough demonstration of the knowledge, because you know what? With that amount of teams in the previous phase or two, it's not easy to get to a new spot safely. But they did lose a few of them. Malik is slowly bleeding out, I believe. So that is Mazagi, is the last one standing for the RENGERS. We'll need a lot of meds to go through further. I mean, that cover there won't be enough very soon. But no, I'm joking. I am extremely wrong. Just look at that circle favoring RENGERS one more time, as if it hasn't been enough for the circle to go to Los Leones. Now the side of Execution UK have to breach through the side, and this is what I mean with this type of end circle, with this type of landscape. More open spaces than we want, and Execution needs to set up the smoke field like they're doing right now. The trio can take more than those 3 kills. Frenzy close to the building, maybe tracking movements upon the side of NERA, and then of course we have Daos Legion, or I should say Scrim Farm, trying to stop that coming through, but Execution strikes as they need to push in from that side, and Conqueror DE will just hold it still, and the last one standing will not be restrained from shooting. And this is the side of, what's his name again? XGG is the name maybe, and he has that one first 8, and watching the rest of his team 4, he would just use this last one, then probably need to run out in the open, trying to peek, trying to take another one, but he is in the open. Challenge that one, and he takes it first before he went down, and that is 3 teams out in a matter of seconds. That is 3 trios, no, sorry, 3 solos right there, and we're just now down to these 3 teams and made it to top 3, making me feel good about myself. Is NERA the trio made it through to top 3 after losing one. Also lost one was the trio of Execution. I mean, they had a full team, but they lost one in the mid game, and now Melas needs to be careful because across the field is another team, Spectra, with this nice bit of angle. And we'll take Execution UK down to that solo. And this squad, Daos Legion, USA Scrim Farm, will be so strong in here. Like players that, you know, been fragging out like crazy in the PMCO wildcard, now in here, put them together and they're going to show some crazy work. And the full team in here, 4 versus 2 versus 1. It should be their game. I don't doubt it. Just look at the circle, force them, all of them, to kind of just move in the open. If you have a smoke, plan it now. The circle is now closing. 40-second window per smoke, 10-meter diameter as coverage, and Sayrox needs to run as he finds one. Frenzy will first go down. Is a 4v2. One more knock is going to be the last one standing, and this is Scrim Farm taking this first chicken dinner, and the last guy will just go out to the blue, and that is game 1, and that is a brilliant finish. 9 kills over to this Daos Legion or Scrim Farm team in today's Club Open Scrims Day 7. Woo! And good amount of people watching as well. If you do like the commentary, you know, drop a bit, drop some support in here. Bring myself back onto screen, and people do like to know. I think maybe half of the viewers are players as well, so who knows. Not stream sniping, maybe just to get themselves informed. Studying the game, very important, right? So a lot of support coming through, and I was just too focused on casting, right? So we've got 7 Sins, xteam with fans in here, Element, need to see more of Element, I think. And so that is game 1, and if you guys like it, drop a like and subscribe. That would help me out so much. And I'm also on Instagram and Twitter as well. I didn't use it quite enough. I'm more focused on coaching, analyzing, as well as casting. So you know what, we've got some highlights. Need to fix this small bit as well, like just now, and let me bring some highlights to your screen. Do it like this. I think that's all done. And just look at some of these highlights right here, and you can see how these early traps set by the side of xteam, taking out Pen Most Wanted, and then the rest of the trio get funneled into one building, and they just get, you know, completely controlled by. But it was so close, right? It was so close, almost a triple knock coming through. It could have been with a little bit of free fire and stuff like that. Maybe that would have made xteam's life a lot harder than we thought. And is it just me that the audio seems to have just gone out of nowhere? And sometimes there's small technical bits, but I don't stress it. Let me find out. Yeah, seems like it's just the audio, probably not on my side. But we saw this type of finish, and teams don't expect that. Like, how often do we get a city finish in the side of on the map of Miramar? Not a lot. And so that is something new, I would say, and it's something interesting. And Daos Legion would just happily take that 24 points, man, and just mad control coming from them. And I did mention how when they played that north side of Los Leones, it gave them a lot of leeway to entry, for entry without a lot of risk, and they just held it still and just, you know, building by building, they worked it through and made it work. Execution did very well, I think. They came in, they were teams around, they decided to not breach a particular side. Knowing how to thread the needle up north through the city is one of the key reasons why they just opened up that side and took themselves 15 points in this game. And Sayrox with the top kills, and we also have Nat in here doing pretty well for the F1 squad. And you know what I want to see? And this is the privilege, right, of having these scrims. professionally observed with a brilliant company like Starladder that runs it for PUBG Mobile. We see stats. We don't often see that. I believe we have the damage chart coming up after this, and I'm just trying to think, right? When it comes to momentum game and how all these work, I want to know which teams we should focus on. And for sure, Execution's been playing more and more consistent as well. And you can see like the players, 2 of them added together made like beyond 1k damage there between like Malice and Farah. And we also see F1 Nat putting so much work in. Essentially, no, it was officially a 1v3 around that south side early in the later phases of that game, but NERA, the trio, top 2. Okay, and look at these 2 players, 1500 damage between them, and it's just mad to see. And with that, we can see Execution UK going to 2nd place. Of course, they played 21 games, and so we are really looking at that point average. I think they made it to 9 points, almost 10 points per game, so getting more and more consistent as they, you know, practice with each other more. And the other one with Pen Most Wanted, the point average didn't come through as well as other teams, but you know what, like from what I know of this team, just don't really have the best roster in this time of the day as well. So we try to, you know, factor those in, and if you have those backstories, let me know, and I would love to show the audience and tell them, you know, what's going on, like, you know, behind the scenes. Maybe that would be some very interesting things for us to understand. And xteam will still hold on up there pretty well. And then we also see, well, speaking of point average, we've got the 21 games teams kind of high up there, but some of these other teams did play a fair amount as well, right? 13, 17 games, and the point average still need to come through stronger. A lot of them are around, you know, 5 or 6 points. I think what you want is something like 10 points, I'd say 10, 11 points if in this type of lobby, right? For you to say, hey, I have a chance to go to the next PMPL. Right, that being said, I will go on a short break, and I will see you guys very soon. Not coming through. What is going on? And that is Pen Most Wanted getting 1v3. Hey, what's up? We are back, and this thing is very annoying, I tell you. Like, I fix it once, it will still pop out and pop out. I feel like I just need to redo it at some point to tweak the stream again, so that it knows how to automatically stay full screen when I want it to. And you know what? We roll with it for now, for today. So that was a crazy game one, I'd say. A lot of the controls, a lot of things, define things that we may not see, that mattered a lot in how they end up, you know, how the game turned out to be. And one thing that stood out to me was how execution knows the pocket of control in that city, and now know how to not go too far, keeping options open. And that is the type of mentality that you need to have when you take a spot, is to know what it means, right, for the next phase. And that's something that really separates the levels of teams. Like the mediocre teams will take a spot and feel like, okay, we're good, but for how long, right? That is the very important thing to do. And when I coach, that's something that teams still need to like understand. They take a spot, it's on the edge, we are good. No, you're not good, you're only good for 40 seconds, and you need to start, if you want to be good still in the next phase, you have to start planning now. And we will head over to this game 2 over at Sandhawk. Let's not wait any longer. This is a beautiful map, right? We just love it. We just very, very small map, by the way, and that is something that really changes a lot of things when it comes to gameplay. Small map means people can be anywhere. Small map means we can maybe go on foot and not take the car. Small map means if I take the car, people may just hear me anyways. And the game 1 winner with basically Scrim, I'm just gonna call them Scrim Farm. You know what? Let me be professional and follow the so-called script that I've got. They are slot 3. Slot 3 is they are slot 12. They are Daos Legion, and so they are Daos Legion. Okay, I'll just stick with that. A bit of early contest in around that. Camp Bravo and Monai side between themselves and Pen Most Wanted. It's probably going to be a bit of a fight, especially with Kid very close to Icy. And we've got a busy Paradise Resort as well, so different things coming through. And I want to see where execution goes. They went to Kampong, they went to everywhere, Cave, and now they are on the outskirts to the east of Paradise Resort. So that is them actually being in Paradise Resort, and they should know this, right? Some of these players play PMCO UK, and this is BeMyLOOT spot, they say. And that is Farah getting finished by Clady with that. What's the name again? What's the frozen AKM? Is that the name? I didn't even know. But another knock comes through. Seems like the Monai action is there. Omen takes an opening kill as well, but will be returned. And that's a lot of action on that eastern side that we are missing. Seems like Icy put a lot of work in. We'll take 2 out, and we also have some DBS action. I just love that gun, dude. Like DBS against DBS. If you missed it, I will pump you down. 7 Sins taking some early kills right here. 1 finish, another finish right here. Argot's dead as well. 7 Sins potting pain onto the side of Conqueror Germany. It's not even done yet. Look at Spectra's position. The overlook is strong, knowing the strings of basically just overlook. Right, and Icy bot time enough for them. They take 3 kills. Benji is the last one standing, and not sure if he will come in for that support. And but look at the position. He will just get pinched like very, very soon. Seems to be a good fight. Like it's a bit of a back and forth, but that is also Scrim Farm. I think it's the battle of the supports, and he will first, make it strong for themselves. Daos Legion, a lot of Scrim Farm players. I will definitely speak to the officials talking about team tax, because that is not very nice to cast. and it matters, right? Because why should I, like, your registered team name is Daos Legion. Why do I see 3 tags of another one? So unless I get some info from, you know, officials, otherwise I'm just going to stay a little bit annoyed. You know, let's focus on this one. I think Pen most want to lose. After losing those 3, there's still a chance for Benji to survive that. He just needs to know how to dip and how to, you know, move away. And something that we always like is some boot camp action early on. And F1 is in here, NERA is in there as well. IMPERIA, a team that... See, like, I think this is not entirely, like, needed. You can just swim away, and there's still a chance to, you know, grab 1 point. And I think it comes down to maybe experience, or maybe the IGL wants him to maybe practice something. I mean, we've seen multiple players like on that squad, Penmo's wanted squad, who had some good 1v2-3 abilities as well, but the time and space to do it might not be then, like we saw on that screen. And now we may see a little bit more the side of NERA made it to top 2 just now as 3 players, and that makes me always wonder the power of the solo or duo sometimes, and that is really, really important, you know, for these teams to understand, right? You don't have to give up, even if you're the last one surviving. I've seen top 2, top 3 just from solo, knowing how to time the aggression and stuff. And look at this one here, staying so ever confidently, taking one after the next, 1 kill, another knock. It's down to a duo now. Does it matter for NERA? Maybe no. They will just push the solo, and that is him. But no worries, that is F1 holding that strong. Buff Tommy gun seems to be a very outdated term now, because it's been, I don't know, half a year. But we can see the power right there. F1 taking that 1v2, will get that revive, and now facing the rest of SNAKEsquad. So a busier bootcamp than we usually see, but we always like seeing it. I mean, nothing new for bootcamp, right? A good 10 players plus jumping in there. It seems like SNAKEsquad might not have dropped here, and I mean, they are pretty far into the main bootcamp. Footsteps definitely passed over to F1, and but the side of SNAKEsquad might have just looted on the outskirts, then came back in. Maybe this is one of their plays, but they need to be really, really careful. It seems like all of the players at least know how to use their cover, and that is a brilliant nade coming through from SNAKEsquad, because you know what, that balcony roof bit is just really easy to predict, I should say. A lot of, in classics, in scrims, that is one of the best spots for someone to hold, to peek and shoot and get info with third person peek. But you know what, against a squad like SNAKEsquad, they definitely know how to push, and seems like they have a plan coming into this one. This may be the formation and rotation all along in this beautiful map, and they're still trying to find that last one. But the thing is, the side of F1 was ready. Seems like they are there to trade in case anyone tries to thirst, and they will just need to face this push. It's going to be a 4v1 again and again. The last one standing, they need to use that M4, doesn't matter, the M16 will finish the job, and that is going to be SNAKEsquad basically third partying this with a little bit of a delay and take those 3 kills to their pocket, and we are down to 12 teams in this game too. Got a lot of names associated with MVP or Most Wanted. Classer, a name that I know, with Most Wanted in PMCO UK, 7th place. I believe Tika was playing with them quite a bit as well. Maybe not exactly on that squad, but that is a interesting thing with the UK community. I think just in general for this game, like, people do swap around. A lot of friends are friends with other people. But speaking of that, side of IMPERIA not having the best one here. I mean, against xteam, what can you expect? Andy, very deadly player, alongside the even deadlier Deadly. They showed us what they could do, and that is them taking their 4th kill as well, not leaving any chance for that solo player from South IMPERIA. And BeMyLOOT in here against at least one player from Take Cover. Name is Ultra, and the interesting thing for me is BeMyLOOT taking some early kills around Paradise Resort, and with the size of the map, right, like Sandhawk, with that population and that level of how should I say congestion is, oh my god, my English, but with that congestion around it, they know that it's not easy to leave that area, so it really tests the skills and the map knowledge to pull away from Paradise to know which site is safe to go to. And it seems like the side of Takeover for sure knows the strength of those coastal compounds just off that bridge of Hartin, right? So they're just holding that one there. Rengers went to Kampong for this one. A bit of an adaptation, I feel like. But they are still all alive, slowly moving their way in, so maybe that is a good one. And look at this name on that screen. Element has quite a few fans, right? Look at them in the chat saying that only Turkish Conqueror can kill Element, is what they say. Well, let's find out how good Element is. For Lucky Nostra Power, alongside his 2 other teammates trying to be in here, gatekeeping the side of xteam, the opening not onto Nightmare. 3v2 right now. But you know what, the escape strategy, the defensive angle not guarded well enough, the returning not coming through from the side of xteam. So whoever killed Element, he is basically Turkish. Is that what it means? Caramel Mosbobdella is the viewer's name. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce that properly, but seems like they're not scared to hold this. The plan is clear. For Lucky Nostra Power to... Ooh! No one's Turkish anymore. Not yet anyway. Elements get picked up, and the second knock comes through in the blue. The side of xteam needs to grab that revive. Not going to be easy. And this is the brutal Sandhawk blue circle, right? Another 40 seconds, then they have to move in. And we have the sort of takeover now, not waiting anymore. Just take this. They lost one already. They are here to maybe take a crazy, now a 1v4, I assume. And look at Twix almost going down, but you know what? Eventually went out anyway. A push that needs to come through sooner or later, maybe crossing that road. Look at that play zone, probably the reason why. And Spectra just completely baiting and challenging the side of Rengers to peek them one more time, he said, as they take out the 3rd player there. And that is Xerox having his job done as a bait, as an entry fragger, you name it, but they will clear out that eastern side once again. So this team is looking really good today so far. Got that chicken dinner with 9 kills, I believe, and now they are up to 7 or 8 kills, and they made it to top 9, and I think they will continue to go even further. And seems like, you know what, that was a really weird push from Takeover. Did they have to do that? You know, they have a good position as well. They just push into BeMyLOOT from one pretty center position to another pretty center one, allowing people to respond and 3rd person PQ when you're running in the open. So I don't know. Maybe they are busy to go to McDonald's or something like that, and wouldn't be something that I understand. But Execution is playing very patient right here. Freezy taking one. You know, not giving any footsteps, losing 2 teammates early, this is the way that you have to play it. And now he's just pinched behind this box a little bit, but look at him and Malice just holding this one down. They know the area that they can control, and is none other than this warehouse intact mob, or a little bit of the surrounding area. And do bear in mind a little bit of a northern position, right? So if it shifts away from it, we'll need to cross that really dreadful road to cross, and then we have to make it through. Nostra still not done with these top squads. Slobos getting knocked right now. Elements need to show up, showing why he deserves people to be, you know, hyped out for him. Style in here as well can maybe grab some work done. So from xteam to SNAKEsquad, and this is how Nostra fight. And these teams, I think 2 out of the 3 would get out of this outside alive, but you know what? Whew, that circle goes over to them, so they just need to stay, you know, stealthy, right? Especially if they don't have a numbers advantage. Like for both xteam and Nostra power, arguably a little bit hard to get out of those spots if it ever shifts away from them from then. And but we can see already a lot of teams going and needing to come in from that north part, and it's not easy because those compounds, you know, to the southwest of Paradise Resort and all those open areas, very hard to come in. And BeMyLOOT definitely knows that they have some priority to those landscape, and also leaving Sultan and Clady to do some spoiler work, or gatekeeping work I should say. And Frenzy knows his limit, and this is what I mean, right? Sultan is looking at that dreadful road that I talked about to the south of Tatmok. Like if you go for that, you know, sometimes you're just taking a bet. Very, very hard to escape from it. You might as well run back towards the cow side than come back in, right, on a more eastern position. And that is why I personally completely hate the spot. I hate Tatmok. I hate it. But it's very good if you need to go, you know, to some northern parts. But how likely is it for a circle like that? 50-50 is the answer, I think. And they will continue to need to come back in for the side of WSK and Execution UK. I think there's 2 solos as well, so just don't peek it. Like the second he gets out of like to that road, he's dead. Like the good thing to do is to start, like stay behind that, don't peek, don't do nothing. Like, especially if no one's really watching him now, there's no need to peek that, and just heal. Use bandages because bandages are not really useful in the later phases of the game to sign off. And just heal until you need to go. And because he didn't do that, that is a lot more first aids going over to Frenzy, and we know that because we saw it on the screen earlier, and that patience will be rewarded. Just wait till your rotations become very unpredictable, or when people have given up to gatekeep you because of, you know, the circle, then you can get, you know, a lot of a safer rotation in, I should say. And I mean, with this type of circle, interestingly, we also have these small islands in play. 7 Sins, 4 team up still alongside 7 other teams, 2 team kills at the moment on this small island, needing to take a 1v2 maybe is this player. But look at the control, 1 onto that island, 3 to look at everyone who's trying to enter through the waters. I don't disagree with that. I think it's a very good play from 7 Sins. The only problem is this type of, you know, shift. Very hard to go in. Crossing that open part is just really, really annoying. And we can see how they do it. I think there's still a good chance, and he just needs to keep eyes on to the other players. So that is 7 Sins can use it. One player to maybe just to scout, but they are a little bit too aggressive on that one, and oh my lordy lord, that shouldn't need to happen. There's officially at least one player of 7 Sins gone. Blue zone coming in, no one swimming to the island to pick up the knock player on the island. Are you kidding me? They actually just gave this away. The return knocks come through, but it's multiple teams joining into that action. XGG, the last one standing for this one. 7 Sins need to pick this one up. They need to know whether they should do that, because that beach side is extremely exposed. When there's more players rotating from the south side, they would see you from the high ground. And Frenzy also trying to make his way in, but will get found by Scrim Farm slash Daos Legion, taking the 10th kill. But the last one standing is Icy. Will try to come into support with that bike. BeMyLOOT takes off as well, and they're just lasering everyone in this lobby. That early kill is really useful when it comes to the momentum, and Xerox living with a sliver of health, but Icy don't even want to stand too close. The splash damage from a nade can be extremely dangerous as they make it, and the go back down on his knees is Xerox story, and Icy will need to put a little bit longer. You know what, don't give that point away. He can heal up still, and maybe third party pressure can come in strong, but that will not be enough. BeMyLOOT take another win. Holy crap, is that double digits now for BeMyLOOT? Paradise result finish as well. From Paradise to close to tap mark, looping back in. But very easy to lose a spot where you once hold if you don't know how to, you know, control it. So BeMyLOOT putting a lot of good work in. xteam, look at the duo. I mean, they had some very good kills earlier, so they took that one for sure, and they will first take out SNAKEsquad to take their 9th kill and make it to top 4. So that is at least 17 points for them. 8 placement points, 9 kills, and there's no need to breach this any further. Seems to be BeMyLOOT's game. Full team in that circle, Bet for Mercy just healing on the outskirts, and then more players just potentially playing the healing game. So BeMyLOOT from that UK region showing up, you know, representing. I would love to see them do well, and because they were pretty close as well. The hype was definitely there, like for that when they played the spring split. And now we are just down to look at Nostra Power, knowing how to stay stealthy. So one kill doesn't matter. 13 points. Well, I spoke. Maybe I am speaking too soon. Who knows? Maybe he gets a 1v4. Now the footsteps coming through. He definitely moved a little bit. Sultan should be able to pick that up. Now pinching in, clearing every remaining bit. They want to take every single kill point, and he will not get the thirst nor a second knot as BeMyLOOT take that chicken dinner with a whopping 12 kills. But, you know, that Scrim Farm squad, absolutely mental as well. Seems like this just needs to be routine for me, guys. Every time I come back, it's just not full screen. Trying to annoy me as much as possible, right? Maybe there's just something with the settings, so I just need to do this, maybe. Yes and no. You know what? Let me make it. Just do it the simple way. I don't want to mess up more than I already do. Right. So a lot of good plays coming through, and I mean there's a lot more early clashes than we thought, and this is the place to practice how not to clash early by studying how your enemies play, to be fair. But it's also scrims, right? So people can argue, you know what, we don't know what will happen in PMCO, we may get dropped on, might as well take a fight that we know. Right? Fight a team that we've watched, and then that would be one way to play it. And we have some of these clips coming through. 7 Sins with some early pressure. Same for BeMyLOOT. The first kill coming through in the game was from them upon the side of execution, but we also see how Execution made it through like decently by, you know, staying alive, knowing how to do that. And Scrim Farm just, should I say, Daos Legion, making it really, really, like, a lot of knowledge coming into holding a position as well, so that's props to them. And then a lot, I just love these actions, right, like in boot camp. An element, the one with some fans, showing us what we can do. Maybe there's a little bit of like desync maybe between my audio sources, so make things a little bit annoying when it comes to the audio. Hopefully that can be fixed soon. I just need to find out what exactly is going on. Oh, it might just be me, you know, it might just be me because I'm trying to monitor multiple screens at the same time and the stuff like that. You know, still a bit of a noob, you know, I am. Like, technical side, like, I just made it well enough. I know enough to be able to bring these sort of actions to you to cast it, but other than that, I'm pretty much a noob still. So, Leka Nostra Power with 13 points, like we saw, but BeMyLOOT with 27 points in that game. And you know what? That makes, okay, when we talk about maybe a 9-point average, one game like that means that they can play 2 games with 0 points and they have a decent point average. That's how important a big game is. And that's BeMyLOOT climbing up that leaderboard. I'm excited to see how many points they, what's the average point that they get. And if you just look down this list, maybe because of the turn up of the teams, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams going past 11 points. And that's just crazy. I think teams need to know how to find those points, need to learn a part of the map that they know wherever they go, they are very confident in playing by acknowledging another team, etc. And it's definitely a different style compared to the 2 big maps, and a lot of teams still need to find that way in, and too much of the emphasis I think in this game goes to so-called mechanics and stuff, but your pictorial memory, how you can remember these information, maps, etc., incredibly important. And like, let alone, we haven't even talked about stuff like behavior, you know, attitude, professionalism, you know, stuff, sportsmanship. If you're not a good spot, don't play. Like, you're hurting everyone. And look at Icy there. And Icy is always on stream, I'd say, like from time to time, like really supportive, good lad there, and obviously a very good player. 1439 damage. So that is just Icy trying to carry that squad in there, just amongst those 2 players, almost 2k damage. But 2 placement points, fell at 7th place, but was still able to get so many points because they got 12 kills. And xteam now, with those 2 matches, they have tied Entropic finally. So Entropic can still come back and lose it, right? So who knows? And the Execution holding that 3rd spot safely. So after a pretty huge game from xteam, they will propel back up that leaderboard. Pen Most Wanted slowly needing to catch up for sure when it comes to average points. I think it's about the rosters as well, like they mentioned to me. And Ultima Kneecat is a team that was sharing that position like with Execution UK and Pen Most Wanted, but haven't seen them play as much recently. I mean, officials do have a little bit of a timetable and stuff like that, you know, to know what teams to get in each week, right? So that being said, I'll leave you guys to watch a little bit of this highlights as we got a little bit of break before we have that back-to-back Erangel games.
He's got 13 bullets, he should have reloaded, man, he had so much time. He's going to be looking for the information, just spotted out, lucky enough for him, it's going to be enough, but those 13 bullets.
Flank from Tiga. It's a risky one, but it could work out. Melis is getting sharp, not all those shots are connected.
There we go.
No, but indeed, Tiga find a nice play.
Ah, there you go, and the moment that they get that one knock,
but now, as they have to take another fight in front of them, xteam are going to get taken out, and nice.
You kills over the SNAKEsquad, and is only down to one player in a 1v3. Can he make it work out? Picks up two, and barely survives it. Maybe a 1v3 clutch in a finishing moment for the SNAKEsquad. Gets up, gets thrown, but IMPERIA was a little bit too much of a dream. Isuka gets another good grenade. This is such a nice comeback actually coming out from these two guys, and they clear out the entirety of Northern George Bowl. Hagam and also Isuka make the 2v3 actually happen.
And that was in theory a great push by Daos Legion.
Yeah, full sending it down there. Night Target trying to crash everything, make a makeshift compound with those cars.
Wow.
Against the Trim, liking it, but the SNAKEsquad had a very similar... And Cute knows exactly in what kind of vicinity he's currently playing. He's going to keep on trying to move away as long and fast as possible. Going to get up, trying to run back to safety, but you know...
I was just thinking to see what Benji can do. I was just thinking what could Benji do. He's going to get one, he's going to get the second. That's a great individual play from Benji, but can he find NERA? They're going to go into a west now. Execution are pretty well set up, but I would say actually they're too separated. I would much prefer a more core 2-2 split. However, they do get the first knock.
They're going to try their best to deny it away. And in a bit like that, one grenade, two grenades, and I say it. Grenades are exactly the way to undo that push. Bilal should never have gone for the res. At that moment, that was way too risky. And now they're going to commit to it. 2v2 currently happening. A lot of damage. Milas going to be taken down below from Sava. Clean shot with his M4. Now it's a 1v2. Bilal with a Nagan trying to fight back. Unfortunately, the cooking is just not going to be there. And he's going to get... He's about to push him forward. It gets spotted away. Didn't think he would be, but that's going to be it.
Yo, what's up? We are ready for game 3 now. 2 Erangel games, right? The classical map is more important than ever, and I actually love it. I think people's ability to play the game is not just about gun skills and stuff, it's about map knowledge. Now PUBG will give you the most classical map for you to showcase your skills, making it twice the importance compared to the other maps. So take it away, right? Like, use it to your advantage. Like, you know this map well enough. If not, why are you trying to be the best? You can't be the best if you can't out knowledge like someone else. Every dip counts, every tree counts, every rock counts, every play counts. And that is how we see this game. That is why it's so fast paced. That is why we love it, and we will find out how these teams do it. Back-to-back Erangel is something that I've fallen in love with, just because it shows same lobby, right? Same teams. You've done something wrong, you want to do something better, you know, go back, test it again, win this time. Same team, no problem. We found a different way and we win, you know, this next fight. We do a plan B, plan C. The adaptations come through, the revenge come through, the redemption is possible, and that is something that we love. And we've got some friends in there as well. You know what? Speaking of friends, I have many lovely ones, and they remind me of why I do this. It just kind of brings me back, you know, to all that time, where I came from, how I embarked this journey to just be a guy sitting in front right here. You know, I'm used to performing or something like that, but I'm literally just looking at the camera and but still staying connected to everyone, and seeing how this game can bring people together. And obviously can't do it without all the lovely support that I've got, you know, from the players that I coach, people I played with, and you know, family. And speaking of family, I've got some family who just arrived, so with some friends in the chat right now. Yeah, that's a little bit of a change of the situation, at least for me, in the living situation, right? Family around changes things, but love it when they understand, you know, try not to steal my bandwidth when it comes to streaming and stuff like that. But yeah, stay close to the people you love and support them through. We are still in this together. We're not out yet, but we can still, you know, make a lot of good things happen. Look at me. This wasn't here a few months ago. It's just been a few months, and you know what? If you want something bad enough, you will work for it and you'll be able to get it. Let's go for this game 3 right now. We are going to that green hills of Erangel. Let me bring this music down, and then we will see these teams grabbing once again the classical map. Once again, another team for chicken dinner. We've seen some good ones just now. We've seen it from the side of BeMyLOOT in game 2. We had it from the side of Daos Legion in game 1. And okay, Daos Legion has a full Scrim farm team, so I don't know what's going on, but maybe Daos Legions are going to sign them, and that could maybe explain why. Otherwise, it's just a bit of a merge, right? And so we have some new things coming through. Seems like we've got a sub coming in as well. Pen Most Wanted, borrowing a friend from like a Nostra MVP. Will is in here to join them with this plane path going from Severny to Milta area. So making the bottom left of the map very hard to reach. And then we will need to see how these teams play it out. You know what? I feel like I've seen this many times. This type of plane path with a circle going to around Ferry Pier. So absolutely annoying to play with, but you know, it hasn't happened yet. So we have a phase 1 circle that is slightly nicer around, you know, with Potato Hill and Pachinki in the middle, with a lot of teams going to the Milta power side, and Execution refused to show, you know, a one drop as we have some early actions in there. Let me turn down the music. You know what? Give it to me. 2 good squads. Fight it out early. The first one comes through. Icy, you like killing people, eh? And that is xteam killing Icy first. In Yasnaya, they are trying to test each other's skills. And this is xteam's drop for sure. But you know what? It's also Daos Legion's drop. And that is, I know it looks like they're Scrim farm right now, but through, they might have been fighting each other through the PMCO wildcard, and they're just back here and say, hey, look, it's me again. Remember me? We killed each other. And both teams actually lost the qualification, you know, by just, you know, a close margin, I should say, right? And this is Scrim farm taking it first. It's xteam. You think you're doing good? We are coming in and we are playing under the name of Daos Legion, and we will just eliminate you. First kill. First team down. Maybe people back to school or something. New tournaments, new scrims. We only have 14 teams in this game. But that was one strong squad out already, falling to another strong team. Now, a little bit of a clash between the NERA and the side of Conqueror Germany. Aga previously on the Uncles, a team that I complimented quite a bit in PMCO UK just because they know how to make textbook plays, but the consistency wasn't enough, so just kind of missed it a little bit. But oh my lord, that is some early fights right here. 10 most wanted losers. Omen early. They wanted to loot Saverni coming back in, but it's not easy. The drive-through did not work out. The single tap from F1 was so strong, and now they know someone is here. Finally, and that was the price paid. And feels bad, man. Like, seems like that was Omen trying to stay on that buggy, and Kid drove in, but the only thing got punished was the teammate, so that was a sucky one. So need to find a way to scout Saverni if that was the play to, you know, rotate or loot further, you know. Otherwise, Stauber is good, you know, keep going to that northeastern side can still be good enough. And seems like this Link is trying to toy with me a little bit, so I'm just going to make sure I tweak that quality back up. Absolutely no idea why it would naturally go down to 480 as Conqueror Germany takes the opening kill. If NERA is still playing as a trio, then this is them basically, you know, stuck in this position for 2v4. We can see they are just slowly pinching this, and Mad OP needs to be really, really good, but it won't work. And that last guy as well, on the car, not going any further. And Conqueror just wants to finish with the pan. You know what? Get out of our motor power, they say. Balla beep, balla boom. So many early action that we didn't expect. BeMyLOOT going back to the comfort drop spot. This is where they dropped in PMCO UK, around school and apartments. I mean, if they study more of how each other... Oh, Lord. I believe I can fly. Okay, that's one issue with driving, right? When you are on a low health, you may just die if you crash. So, RENGERS, good luck with that. It's so scary to watch, and but the glider is just an interesting addition to this. I mean, good flying. Went all the way to prison. Feels like a prisoner if you do ask me. No meds, no nothing. Some gear, but no close by compound. So need to run and find another one. You know what? Round 2. Here we go. Seems like this might be the case, right? Teams wanting to practice fighting. And the Conqueror UK said, round 2, come at me. 7 Sins with some fans in that chat, not scared to show what they can do. But Wise is the first one knocked, with that finish coming through as well as Conqueror claimed the 3rd kill. 7 Sins may try to bite more than they can chew, and they need to slowly just pull away. You know, this is the thing, right? Like, which side do you actually port in, right, to mill to power? Like, to be fair, if they need to escape, just go wide along the south side again. There's like ridges and stuff. Go down that way, then rotate away. But if you opt in to rotate from this western side, we've played this before. I used to drop mill to power when I, you know, just for fun, for scrims as well. And you just can't do that. Like, escaping from the western side from mill to power will get you killed. It's just training ground practice. You need to go wide from the south side, then rotate around. Otherwise, you just do this. Use ridges. So they made out of there alive based on that. So that's one way to do it. But that was scary to watch. And we've got some friends in the chat as well. Hello, everyone. 13 teams remaining, and we've got the side of SNAKEsquad. Not contested in Pochinki, a very good position. Like for this circle as well, definitely in the center still, so they can make a lot of things happen. But this is some thoughts, right? When it comes to cities like Pochinki, pretty much in the middle. Some hold that thought. Look at Knees trying to make something work. But you know what? Speaking of Knees, why don't you just go on your knees? You know, teammates are gone basically. Trying to take an ego play, the DP is strong, but what's stronger is the reflex from Conqueror Germany. Will just come in. They didn't have enough punching today, I tell you. Say, die. 4th kill coming through, basically fighting. You know, fighting away 2 squads right there. And that was a little bit of a weird play. I feel like people start to take these scrims a bit too casually. 2 of the team is like leaving. Of course, can create some false sense of security for Conqueror. I respect that. But when you open fire when there's no one to like further support, that was a bit too ambitious. Right, let's go back to the point when it comes to Pochinki. So cars around. You need to sometimes grab them early, but we see this way of looting sometimes is in the big city, people take too much time to loot up a city. So, but if it's quite center, you get a lot of teams potentially rotating around it. But if you all split on the outside of the city, then all like loot towards the middle, then you may lose some time or chance to pick up info of enemies rotating around a city like Pochinki. So that makes me wonder what the actual splits are for a city like that. How do they start looting? What's the, how do they dissect and put the city in, segments to make it more efficient is all I'm saying. But that circle will continue to circle up. We'll have a lot of interesting bits. Maybe Raw's play is where we can like see a lot of it. And seems like after losing one player there, Pen Most Wanted will settle for this compound just off the south of that river. This is very close to apartments as well as the Rosal area. Well, the side of NERA, the last one standing, the glider was fun, and now he's in here needing to hold this down against the 2 players of Seven Sins. Both of them refugees from Mill to Power, and it's very much, possible a 1v2. But this type of situation, right? If I am that solo player, I need to always keep a 360 view to make sure there's no third party coming through. And you know what? Make it a 1v1. BeMyLOOT said, I'm just going to kill myself with a molly. Just don't smoke when you are having a high percentage alcohol drink. You will burn yourself to death. And that is that go. And look at these people, right? Tell you, when Imperium's in here, everyone's just like, hey, Imperium, hi, how about me? Say hi to me. I'm joking, it's fine. We all know who he is. The big man himself in here, and watching that fight go that way that it happened. 1-2 have not himself with the molly. Like I said, the third party pressure can come in any side, and that will be Seven Sins out at 13th place. Well, Scrim Farm got that very good early wipe onto xteam, but now not quite easy. They lost 2, and now the duo need to hold against a full squad or WSK on this Potato Hill. Always hard to breach Potato Hill if you are not here early enough. A team that knows how to hold it will have many angles secured, and seems like this needs to be Spectra trying to use his skills just don't move if you don't need to. With that Uzi, he opens fire. He didn't make it through, though. The knock comes through. The last one standing is Xerox for the side of Scrim Farm. And the nade comes through as well. WSK is ready to just take this clean team fight. And this is Xerox needing to show his discipline. Not giving any audio cues. Not doing anything crazy. But he will first take a crazy knock, swapping to the Scar L. He needs to take another one. The Ridgeline is just enough, but his health bar is not quite there. This push will come in soon, and that is WSK finishing what they started. Taken out at 11th position is the squad of Scrim Farm. And what can I say? And that is Potato Hill for you. But you know what? I've seen so many teams taking that spot, not knowing how to hold it. So props to WSK. That is a good one. We will have the circle going over to the apartment side with a little bit of Rozok in play. You know, Potato Hill is still right there. And that J compound is now held by F1. Very, very strong compound. And this is where teams need to know, you know, they may have to repark the cars here and there. They may want to expand their area of control, right? Because it's just one compound. Very easy to get pinched from multiple sides. So that is something that we want to see these teams do. And, you know, knowing what we call the pockets of position to get the most, okay, out of where they are. SNAKEsquad maybe giving WSK a round to around here, but we can see very, very careful when it comes to pushing up this side. We all know what Potato Hill can do, and this is SNAKEsquad actually opening some fire, because rotating pretty close to them is the squad of Execution, a team that is coming in, and now interestingly got pushed away by SNAKEsquad, who was scouting for Potato Hill, and now just knowing this pressure around, they will just disengage to that south side. I think is a good call, just rotating along that edge still, okay, and then just enter back into maybe a shelter area type of position. And now SNAKEsquad finally loses patience, and that is Alaraf losing the majority of his HP, but the rock is there for him to just hold still. Take cover, by the way. We'll take one knock onto Freezy. Execution UK get pushed away from this Potato Hill position just to get found by another team. Seems like SNAKEsquad has, you know, shown their presence, not scared to take this one head on. F1 as well, we know the center compound, that J compound, finding a knock onto Pen Most Wanted on that northern side, but that is the type of distance that is very hard to get a kill confirmed. And Conqueror continue to frag. Aga from the previous split, like I mentioned, the uncles, I mean, he had a lot of skills demonstrated, so now under Conqueror DE, trying to make more things work. Damage done to RENGERS, by the way, the other PMCO United Kingdom team. And SNAKEsquad will just take it. 4v4, Alaraf still needs to heal from that one. Almost knocked one of WSK across that field. I think this is the time, right? Unless you're making a very proactive type of flank to go around, you should just maybe hold it and wait for the next circle. Like, or to be fair, you would predict that it would probably shift away from you. So just take a proactive rotation to out-rotate each other. So that could be the play for either of these teams around Potato Hill. But let's not forget, Execution UK got funneled to that south side, lost one player to take cover, and now they have to rotate back in. They already know the little bit of situation around, you know, like around Potato Hill, so they need to know how to thread the needle. They can rotate back through where they came from, but need to be very, very wide. And we also see aggressive rotation in the center zone. This is what I love. It's a school and apartments finish, and that is also F1 continue to stop some, you know, put some pressure onto Pen Most Wanted. Pen Most Wanted went out of that compound, went into that school, and will be able to get picked up, but then Conqueror finally feeling resistance. They had some good early kills, they had some good early pressure, but they will fall. At least lose a lot of players around there, but you know what I spoke to? So Aga is just fragging out right now. Blanco knocked. Take cover, need to take more cover. Ultra need to retreat away as well. So we are now in the southeastern part. Ultra, the last one standing for the take cover squad, not scared, you know, to shoot. And you know what? I don't like it. And that is also Execution trying to bolt, like, rotate in. And I did say that they got funneled away, you know, from Potato Hill, and they just avoided that side completely. But it's not an easy part to enter. We know this part from school is a lot of downhill, a lot of slopes that's very, very hard for you to scout, like previously. So if I were them, I would actually go back to Potato Hill side. I know it sounds crazy, but it may be easier. There's just 1 or 2 choke spots, and you can make it through. Otherwise, you just end up in the position like here. SNAKEsquad, F1 in here to maybe make something work. And we also see how, you know, people need to know the weak side awareness and stuff like that. And you see Pen Most Wanted from the school apartment just looking at players constantly with some more loot for them to pick up as well. So that is take cover, losing Blanco eventually. I think that's just a bleed out because Ultra is still in here. SNAKEsquad would just take this shack and would just hold this down, and as long as they know the limits of the ridgeline and covers, they can take a pretty good game from this position. A lot of info, a lot of, you know, sufficient cover, I should say, and F1 has a similar idea on the other bits of the shack, I should say. And BeMyLOOT still holding very strong. The full squad is still in here, making it to top 10 now. I mean, it's not many teams in here, but you know what? They took a very, very solid, you know, win on Sandhawk just now. Different type of map, different method of play, but same squad, right? Like same squad, basically same from PMCO UK. I think the majority of them have been on that squad. My point is, that is about synergy, that is about, you know, experience as a team, and also experience of like having wins in the past. And that is, whew, you know what, I feel bad for like a few of these teams. For example, first off, LRF, I'm so sorry, buddy, but you stood too close to the car and he's just back to heaven straight away. And now with this circle, with F1 actually in the middle, and this is just so brutal. Pushing the teams in school and apartments out of it. BeMyLOOT will hold that bit there, and then this is where Pen Most Wanted need to find out how they play it. Do they challenge? Do they challenge apartments? Or do they rotate wide in? But they need to make sure this weak side, like a Nostra Power, ever so deadly, will have priority to enter from the western side. The northern half, very, very open. The northern half of the circle completely controlled by the squad of F1 and SNAKEsquad based on that landscape. It's going to be really, really hard for these teams to play the north part. So we can see like a Nostra Power as well as Conqueror Germany playing for that south side because of the high ground advantage. They can slowly work their way down maybe, but we will first see the side of Execution falling to BeMyLOOT. BeMyLOOT still in the circle from this position. The gods of PUBG is on their side, but them doing this will give the time for Pen Most Wanted to maybe come on in, but they will actually just use that time to go to the main road and they may not be able to come any closer. But I think, you know what, if I were Pen Most Wanted, I would maybe crash this, at least, you know, stay safe for now. But it seems like they found themselves a small ridge line. Don't know how long they can live for with that position, but it may be just another play. It could be a good play as long as they know the limits of it. So BeMyLOOT, very likely that they need to move. They left one outside of the circle to play some spoiler, and look at the M249 work element in his element right now. Putting that first aid in, will continue to use that 4 times to spray with that 100 clip, and that is just ever so deadly. Like a Nostra Power, knowing how to control those early games. Now, like with this, look at that formation, just look at that top right there. The expanded control across all of that top, bottom left quadrant of the circle allows them to get so much info in, and they can really choke multiple teams being in that position. And we did mention this spot taken by Pen Most Wanted. Yes, avoiding some direct clash with BeMyLOOT, but the soft covers will you know, will time out from those smokes, and they will just get return knocked straight away, knowing the time, you know, the duration of smokes really important. That 40-second ran out, kid got knocked again and went back down, and then this is just a game for F1 to take. They have that bit of position to look downhill. They have that bit of position to also third-person peek uphill, and that is just going to be a very hard one for Pen Most Wanted, needing to go through two teams who are holding these sort of shack. The good news is SNAKEsquad doesn't have all the numbers advantage, and upon some knocks coming through, BeMyLOOT will just pull the trigger to enter, but F1 seems to be more ready than BeMyLOOT thought, and they will almost get knocked there, but they made it into the circle. That is just ever so important. Using that rich line there, they are in the circle. They can just throw nades in now. F1 need to mine multiple sides. Clady with a beautiful shot through that little bit of a peek and shoot. That is a beautiful work by this team. 2 kills right now for F1, but they need to go even further. And this is the type of position nades will run in. They held it here. Whoever they killed, they don't get to loot almost. And that is the problem with these types of positions. Knowing when to strike, the time aggression is very key. BeMyLOOT 8 kills now. Oh my yai, this team just haven't given anyone a break. And by the way, Pen Most Wanted also wanted to make a break onto that side. Want to take down SNAKEsquad as well, but F1's first need to hold down BeMyLOOT against their momentum, and that is a great long-range shot coming from the top, like a nostril power from that high ground, overlooking this fight. And seems like Pen Most Wanted made it through, like from that side, and that is SNAKEsquad falling from the position. I feel like they know what they wanted to do, but that was the issue. And just look at Arga here. It's 11 kills for Conqueror. Okay, oh my lord, the oh help me, that was almost a 1v3. I mean, like, there's one more that he had to take, but look at him. He just waited for all that time, knowing that the circle, he will be slowly out of the circle with no, that the next cover will be very hard for him to get into. So he just stayed in there. Nade 180, sprayed down one, almost took the third one, but like a Nostra power was there to respond. And I think with that distance, maybe they can get the revive, but Aga definitely done so much damage. Like, I don't know whether we should take this with smokes being so important in the late game, with him having no first aids. That was maybe not the fight to take. Will was trying to punish it severely, and that will be like a Nostra power almost losing more than they could afford. And Siren finds one as well. Seems like Pen Most Wanted is trying to control this, and but they need to have more control crawling in here, and I think that is them just getting completely obliterated from their position. I think it's very hard to go in anyway, but going low ground means you have a lot of people to third-person peek you. Sultan is there to make sure he covers those angles, so been a hard one anyway. Going uphill means like an Nostra power third-person peeks you as well. I think that might be down to some sort of play, like a little bit healing, although they didn't have much like first aid, but they allow them to outlive another team, you know what? And but I do respect that, as long as they can push at the same time. Well, now BeMyLOOT is against like a Nostra power, and with this position from high ground, working slowly stepwise down, El Chapo leading the way and trying to finish what he started, and pull out that frag grenade, and they will get a good, just look at the top right there, right? Look at the control to this multiple spots is exactly there. As a 3v3, this revive is really vital. If El Chapo finds the best nade ever, then they would just straight up turn this into a 3v1. But the revive will come through. Wise will continue to suppress the position of El Chapo with frag grenades, and that is just so important in this late game. And people sometimes use too much of utilities in one fight, and doesn't understand how important it is to hold a few still. And sometimes you see a player throwing 2 or 3 here, and then 2 or 3 again in another time that we can find, you know, him on the screen, and that is how many frag grenades they carry. And then Wise need to be very wise now in his position. Having no first state means that he needs to take quite a lot of time to heal back up. So they can do a lot of peek and shoot BeMyLOOT. They just need to know the limits. But Nostra Power has been playing this well. If we just look at the landscape, they went to this more top left side of the screen where there's more ridge line to protect them. If they run straight to these 2 bits of rocks in front of BeMyLOOT, they will be punished really, really heavily. So Nostra Power showing a little bit of that important game sense. Ticker with the beautiful nade. Sultan goes back down, and Wise will not have any first aid to spare. I don't know if the side of Sultan has any either. So Nostra Power knowing exactly where BeMyLOOT is, although they can get third person peeked, they are just very, very patient, and El Chapo just dictating the pace from the side there, using a little bit third person peek just through that edge of that smoke, making it to the next bit of cover, and will continue to crawl in to find info. And the phase 8 will now close. This minimap's too small, I can't even tell who's in the circle anymore, but we do know that BeMyLOOT has this position, and I think it's important for them to smoke aggressively as well, maybe, or just smoke up to the next cover, but they will first find some brilliant snipe onto the side of Style, so it's going to be a finish as well. BeMyLOOT take the 15 and 2 more standing, or should I say crawling, for the side of Nostra Power is still possible. I've seen this before, and that is El Chapo using his position to just try to dissect the formation of BeMyLOOT. It's going to be a 2v2. It's going to be a lot of pre-fire, a lot of game sense, a lot of experience and calmness, reflex as well. You name it is probably in here for you to see. 4th kill coming through for Nostra Power. But BeMyLOOT are ready to take 2 more. I think it's going to be a 17 kill game. Brilliant perspective as well of the 2 Nostra Power players, all trying to take it off 1 bit, and they all know their job right here. Tricky thing is, like BeMyLOOT, no chance to heal, only 7 bandages and 3. The open up comes through, and that's the last one. That is Wise taken down as well. To defy the momentum of BeMyLOOT is the squad of Nostra Power. They found that patient rotation. They chose the side that they can work bits and bits from that north side, and they just dethrone the winners of game 2. But what can I say, man? It's still absolutely crazy how BeMyLOOT, okay, put things in perspective, right? You know how many spots sometimes end in apartments, and you kind of get the circle in some later phases. Sometimes people just don't frag from those positions, and I don't know how many kills came through in that phase, but they definitely found kills at every phase of the game. And so that was a brilliant play by BeMyLOOT, to be fair. But Nostra Power, 1 rotation, slowly worked their way down. I think I might have disagreed with their revive decision, but I mean they got that player back up after all. But it was very, very scary, and that's how they end up with only 3, no first states at all. So a bit of high risk, high reward, I think. And but you could see how a solo player can almost take down 3. That was Aga almost taking out Nostra's Power and all their chances to win in this game. But they stood strong. They stayed strong, and they took that win. And so yeah, props to a lot of these teams. Like those that stood up to me was at least their most wanted with the rotations still coming through, at least getting some points. Like they could go out earlier, to be fair, with the positions that didn't have. And then of course, Nostra Power we talked about already, BeMyLOOT we talked about already, Aga with their play talked about already. So and of course like Scrim farm in here, trying to take this, and the VSS in the close range putting a lot of work in as well. And how often do we see a little bit of a situation like this one? You know what, I forgot to bring my screen, and once again let me do this and bring this to full screen for you lot. And crazy. How often do we see a Milta Power fight so early? 3 teams in the area. So you get something new every time. So interesting game right there. You know what's more interesting, guys? Another Erangel game. Fight it again. Do it. You know what? I'm gonna put... Okay, I don't have anything to give away. My heart, my soul, you want, I don't know. My plant. Something like that. And I've got some interesting bits here, to be fair. But what I'm trying to say is, right? And do make me miss trouble, you know? Lockdown, but without lockdown it wouldn't be here, so... But back to my point. What I was trying to so-called bet on is for Scrim Farm, or I should say Daos Legion, and xteam to have a round 2 fight in Yasnaya Poliana. You know what? That may happen. We will wait. And how about that? If I have that right, you can subscribe to my channel and drop a like. If not, I don't know. Just saying. You can blame me in chat, but you know, it's really just me with my very blunt prediction and a very bold. You know what? Could happen. And you know what? Let's go on a short break and we'll find out whether I'm correct and see how these teams come back and maybe take some revenge in Game 4.
There we go. No, but indeed, he can find a nice play. There you go. And the moment that they get that one knock, they're going to go into a wedge now. Execution are pretty well set up, but I would say actually they're too separated. I would much prefer a more core 2-2 split. However, they do get the first knock. I was just thinking to see what Benji can do. I was just thinking what could Benji do. He's going to get one. He's going to get the second. That's a great individual play from Benji, but can he find NERA? Conqueror taking a shot, but Mystic, how are you still alive? There you go. The wheel gets popped. They're going to trying their best to deny the way. And in a bit like that, one grenade, two grenades, and I say it. Grenades are exactly the way to undo that push. Bilal should never have gone for the res. At that moment, that was way too risky. And now they're going to commit to it. 2v2 currently happening. A lot of damage. Nilas going to be taken down below from Sava. Clean shot with his M4. Now it's a 1v2 Bilal with a Nagan trying to fight back. Unfortunately, the cooking's just not going to be there. And he's going to get...
Thank you so much for reminding me. Tekoi, you are a star. But I talked about my crystal ball. I'm not going to bring that up again. But what I was trying to say is how these back-to-back Erangel games can really make this difference. And type in the chat right now, do you yes or no, will xteam and Scrim Farm fight in Yasnaya Polyan again? And we need to see the playing path, of course. It should come on in a matter of like a minute or so. So what do you guys think? Tekoi, you can have the first go because you helped me out. You know, my little bit of mistake. Forgetting to unmute my mic. How dare I? I can't do that. But thank you so much for saving the stream and me. Will we have that? Said maybe. You know what? That's not a bet. Tekoi said maybe. I said is a yes or no. So just pushing people to the limits now. So you know what? If you don't want to type, have an answer in your head and we'll find out. I could give it, you know, like I can do a giveaway some of these times, right? To say, hey, interact with me. The first one who gives me an answer will be able to maybe claim a small prize. I don't know, UC prize or something like that if you made a good guess. So the game is on. Yeah, not that game, like the game, this Bet King game, right? But the game is now also on. So let's head over there and see, look at this playing path, right? It will go to Yasnaya because we see this is going from the side of military base through Yasnaya to Stalba. So what we can expect for sure is teams going to Yasnaya, I think. And that will be very, very interesting for us to see. And we may see the side of Execution UK going back to Novo again. That team is really good at hiding their drop spots, I feel like. Maybe they're just testing different things, but given that we had the Milta Power three-way fight around there earlier, maybe this is round 2, right? And seems like we have some early contests going to Novo as well. Execution UK will be tested based on the ability to fight early. So because very close to them we have the side of WSK, I believe, and we have SNAKEsquad jumping out of the plane to the western side, going back to Pachinki maybe, and shouldn't have that many team going to their west side as well, because of the plane path makes positions like Gatka, Georgiapol, Ferripia pretty hard to reach. And I think just to based on the predictions round Novo, I think they will fight there, and seems like we will get around Yasnaya, and then Pen Most Wanted will also maybe get some pressure upon themselves as well, because they can probably see a team going to Kameshki area. So whether they can reverse gate, not even reverse gatekeep, but to keep them away, okay, from entering this phase 1 circle will be very interesting for us to see. And we also have F1, the team that took out one of Ben Most Wanted pretty early in game 3, just now, that first Erangel game. They will probably not get rewarded for doing that same thing again. So Ben Most Wanted probably learned a lesson from that. But you know what? Can't wait for this. Executions, testing the skills in here. Taking 1 kill already. Bilal incredibly low. The pinch comes through. Malice will take down the second one. 2 quick kills going over to Execution UK. The squad's been playing so confidently. It's something that we love to see. And the heal up is coming through as well, I believe. And look, yes, xteam is fighting Scrim Farm. And I don't think it's surprising at all. And what I like about this is the fact that they've been doing this through PMCO wildcard as well, I believe. So this time round, xteam is trying to strike back. 2 knock for them, so the revenge is here. Spectra will use his position to maybe stop that from coming through. Icy is trying to maybe use that 3-stack to come stronger in. Back for Mercy will get that finish. That nade almost killed Deadly, and that Spectra trying to hold this down. And just giving away info is Omdiati, and that's the best that you can do, like when you're not, is to give info sometimes. So that will be the second kill coming through. So Scrim Farm, they may need to take this 2v4, or they just need to find a way to rotate out of it. And this is what I mean sometimes. Even if you have... Oh, wait, just hold that thought. Icy with a brilliant pre-fire with the AKM through that smoke will first get a knock in here. So good step forward to take 2v4. But looking back for Mercy, ready to take this even further, take away half of his HP, but Icy will strike again, and using that brilliant maneuver, swapping to FPP so that his angles won't be, you know, exposed, so he won't cover himself by his own body, etc. And they would take down another one. Okay, this is happening. This is Icy and Spectra trying to take this 2v4, and they would just take one after the other. The last one standing in here, Silas has to make this work, but that is him first making it work. Icy would just take it, and that is an official 2v4. Scrim Farm holds strong still. Oh my lord. And that is the issue. They know they are 4v2 and they got 2v4 because, you know what, patience is so important here. SNAKEsquad also clashing right here. Didn't go all the way back to, you know, Pachinki. Now on this compound to the west side of farm, will try to pinch the side of Take Cover. Take Cover has that hard cover for sure. Double knock onto them, and Alaref almost get punished for that, and will first get another knock into that building, and that is just so deadly in there. And he's got no first aids though, so he needs to slowly heal up. It's still numbers advantage to their side, but we can also see on that kill feed, WSK striking back. That was Nova action, by the way, in case I made that very, very confusing. As you can see on the bottom right of that screen, they are still taking that fight, and WSK will actually slowly go down, but Insania won't have the best time either. But SNAKEsquad will come in to take their second kill. 1-4-2 right now, 3v2 situation. The support is here quick enough, and the two of them stuck on the top floor. The pre-fire with the Tommy gun was good and finishes it as well. There's a 2v2 right here in this compound. And that is just the twits with that crazy play with the Tommy gun, you know, just taking time to finish things as well, as now a 1v1. Captain can maybe even pick that up, and yes, he will take that flush. 3 points to each team. At what cost? But you know what, sometimes you just need to fight it. If these two solos are able to disengage, maybe they can both get some placement points. I mean, there's only 12 teams in this one, I believe, so they both got at least 4 points already. But place your best once again is a captain. Oh, this is Microb, and it's going to Microb with the AKM against that M4. He can pick up that audio cue. He's going to use that molly, and he almost lost his health. There's no first aid for him to use, just looping outside of the building, and we'll just take that beautiful one. That molly was beautiful, stopping. That damage is so high as well. The buff came through, you know, a while back. And that's why a lot of these players just use these mollies to breach compounds. And that was a beautiful one. At the price of 3 players, they took that win, right? And the SNAKEsquad holds strong. And Pen Most Wanted, we saw them, you know, having small bits of trouble earlier in that game previously, but they are still now in here, right? It's just patiently playing along that eastern side. BeMyLOOT back to that spot, and no surprise there, still holding the apartments and school area for themselves. And Aaron asked, can we register now? The answer is no, because all these teams are invited due to the good performance in the PMCO 2021 spring split. So it's not something that you can just register and play. You need to have that CV as a team to back you up so that you get to play in this lobby. So if you want to play in these, maybe you need to register for PMCO 4 and then, you know, come back again. And little bit of a clash again. I mean, Scrim Farm is going to have some trouble because they lost to earlier, although they were so good in taking this that 2v4 earlier. Spectra is the last one standing, and Sultan will find those shots on him as well, but missed half of those shots. Icy goes down. BeMyLOOT continue to stay strong. Clady needs to get picked up, but the last one standing is in there. Only if the side of BeMyLOOT has been keeping an eye on that kill feed, they know it's the last guy, but that doesn't mean they can play this carelessly. So Sultan just slowly pinching, waiting for that revive onto Clady, and they can reinforce that support and pinch this last player of Scrim Farm to the grave. Interesting circle as well. Execution actually wrapped up that fight, and they will need to rotate through to Novo. RENGERS, a team who knows how to play farm and milter, will hold on to that coastal line, and a lot of these teams need to come into here. A lot of tricky areas, and what I have on my mind is the shelter area now entering the east side of NERA. Trailing behind them is 7sins, and the side of Pen Most Wanted, as we see the side of BeMyLOOT finishing this fight to take out the duo of Scrim Farm. Out at 11th place, but they put up a good fight. And Aaron, thank you so much. That would be very, very nice of you. So you can at least, you know, stay in touch, right? Whenever we get these type of scrims, you can come and watch, and we can see how Pen Most want to scout at that and just pull away from the shelter or the lumber part of shelter, because that is just really hard to breach in. So they might just go for a little bit of different rotation, scouting further up here, coming into close to the area of control by like a Nostra Power. They hold this northbound position very well here, and that is 7sins trying to cruise through as well. That is them very clearly knowing what they want to do, and will hold multiple teams and trying to just choke them. They hold this strong here ticker with opening knots, leaving the side of but missed the opportunity onto 7sins, but they have finished at least one kill onto Pen Most Wanted on that on the eastern side. So still waiting for them to go like further. That position is just hard to go through, so it comes down to the proactiveness of the players, knowing how to think 2 steps forward, use their map knowledge to know how they can maybe savage that situation. Got RENGERS this game, right? Very different, because they've only got 2 players. And so that means you definitely can't do something like that. You have 10 bandages and you almost killed yourself with a nade. So Conqueror, being ever so aggressive, will just push this, and this might be a good chance if Mazagi can pre-nade those stairs, but he just needs to stay quiet. Malik is here. We saw his ability to take a 1v2 or even 1v3 in the past, but he will first get knocked from Aga. All the defensive angles been guarded. Mazagi is down by his lonesome, so it seems like this will be the end of today's run for the RENGERS. But Conqueror Germany, my lord, so many kills, so much aggression, so much potential as well from the likes of today's games. And that is basically done. Like, look at just Aga putting so much work in just guarding off angles, and that is them taking even more kills for today. F1 took that rotation, right? Like, slow start, round Saverni, slowly working their way in. The style of play and rotation is not very obvious to me yet, so, but I will analyze as we see them more, and definitely see some very short, like, good ones by them. And you can see getting pushed away, like by like an Nostra Power. Pen Most Wanted will just come back to the shelter side through lumber, and they are not scared to trail behind NERA, but they need to find a way in. Threading the needle is very much just the thing that they need to do now. Look at that circle. How the hell would you expect that? Like, you can't predict that. For that circle going to 40% water, with the bridge in play, with the majority of land on that military base island. this is a top 5, I feel like, that's just been given to the hands of execution. Who would have thought that when they dropped Novo, they actually have one of the strongest position when they didn't even decide to cross the bridge? So that is just crazy for me to think about. And that is Conqueror DE needing to probably fight that as they try to cross that bridge. And 7sins down to 2 players needing to find a way in. They get pushed away, and they need to, you know, slowly come in. And knowing how to play stealthy may be important, and there's still a lot of ridge line along the coast that they can use. And but bridge control can be very strong here. I think we will see a lot of fishies. A lot of people may just send the cars into the water later on, but a lot of them will try to make it like through that eastern bridge. Problem is, you don't really have that type of luxury to go through there if you are too far from the circle. So it may be about playing some edge, scouting in, etc. You know, that big brain play really needs to come through map knowledge and all that. You know what? There's one way. So if you have meds, rotate very wide in the anti-clockwise manner through the north side of the circle, go through that eastern bridge, and then come back in. But Siren says otherwise. He wants to find some shots onto 7sins first, and that is them trying to take that, and that is info passing through. With the help of Kid, they would take down that knock. Still need to come further in. This blue zone is closing already, so they need to know the consequence of opening shots at that time. But they did open up quite a few positions, and Siren is very close to the blue zone, not quite in yet. So this squad needs to still, you know, rotate even further. Let's see what they're going to do. That pickup may not be easy. Comes down to their kill fit awareness as well to know how they can make that work. And just look at this circle, man. It will be about so much about healing, I think. But we can see F1 probably still, I don't even know if there's any ground on that north side of the circle. So if they want to win this, maybe it's about fighting through the other bridge. And seems like Penn Most Wanted feels like they just need to do that. And the Kid coming through here, pushing up close to 7sins, and they may just need to open this up and make that call right now. 25 seconds to go. They won't get to play that game later on if they don't pull that trigger and go through that bridge, because you know what? So many players are in that water already. So this is just going to be an absolutely crazy spot. And that is Narrow in here trying to take the 1v2 and 1v3 almost. Will put a lot of damage to Penn Most Wanted before they need to go. And they need to do that pickup straight away. Otherwise they won't be able to tank it. But they are in there. At least they can try to make something work. Some meds for them. So maybe Penn Most Wanted can just squeeze in from that eastern side. But execution is here. Like if I were execution, I would place more focus onto that eastern edge for whoever tries to rotate late through that eastern bridge to come in. But they didn't seem to have a problem with that. But the pickup didn't come through from Penn Most Wanted, so they maybe just opting to take those resources for the remaining players. But no, the play zone did that damage. Another one knocked. So don't know what happened there. I feel like they might have had a chance. So last one standing for Penn Most Wanted. Meanwhile, F1 tried to cross when they could maybe play this northern side. But they didn't. So they gave away this position advantage to NR. Like, I mean, NERA could at least play this for now, right? They can play it long enough to, and you know, not to jump into the water before they absolutely have to. So that is definitely potentially a mistake for F1 there, because I understand it. They want to cross and stuff like that. At least they send enough players across. But so I think it's actually a good place. They just need to know how to balance all of that, or just keep one to very religiously hold that northern side. And we can see like a Nostra Power actually going for what I kind of mentioned earlier. Just tank a little bit, come through that western bridge, then there's still a chance to play, especially with the plane path basically more on that eastern side. Just pick a bridge, pick the western one, then you have fewer resistance. And but execution just basically based on their position, just top 5 based on what the zone's given to them. So would be disappointing if they can't go further than that, but you know what, still need to see where the circle goes, because still very, very, although it's been really, really annoying, right? What a bitch. this game, and will finally make NERA and the side of take cover needing to cross that water, and the F1 with the early swim, right, that decision allowed them to live. Like a Nostra Power with those rotations around allowed them to live as well. Close zone for them too, so that is a good reward from the gods of PUBG for like a Nostra Power, using the game sense, finding different ways to rotate in. And NERA will probably go out to the blue unless they swim right now, but you can only swim so quick through that water. So it's safe to assume that a team like F1 and Execution can take a top 5 finish in here. Now F1's showing some strengths now. I did talk about establishing a pattern or style of play. Seems like they have this style where they are not worried about early game pacing. But once we hit the mid game, they will be very proactive in taking an advantageous position. I think that's one of the best styles to play this game. And so, like a Nostra finally opening fire, putting some work in, taking out one of BeMyLOOT as well as finishing one of the F1 players. So slowly working their way in from this western side. It seems like the side of N1 needs to face the push from Execution UK as well from that western eastern side, and Mad OP actually had a very, very good run, or should I say very, very good swim. Rotating through all of that now, it's going to be a CQC battle. We got the Tommy gun just through the smoke. Mid-slide will just take down one of Execution UK. Farah has shown some of his skills, but won't be able to return that knock through the smoke this time. Insania is also there. Now look at mid-side, looking at the back, picking up those gunshots. He needs to be aware of the back as well. And Execution need to hold this still. And Conqueror, early fights, right? A lot of kills last game. We saw all of that. Still in this one with those early rotations, the first one to cross that eastern bridge, and that also makes me feel like Execution could have just, you know, held the bridge, or, you know, punish whoever comes through the bridge. But doesn't matter, they play this like bit by bit, moving forward from that eastern side as they attempt to find the 6th kill. Melis is dead, but they now know where the side of Conqueror is, and there's still a lot of ground for them to use on the more northern half of the circle, so they just need to make a call, right? Like 100 meters away, a bit too far for them to throw smokes in, but 16 seconds until the blue zone closest. They need to find a way to breach it. Maybe they need to just rotate a little bit more in the clockwise manner, just try to take this fight with Conqueror anyway, because 14's remaining, a 2 versus 2 versus 2 versus 3. So with the numbers advantage over Execution, they actually didn't have the priority in the circle, and this will rely, they need to rely on the formations, good cover fire in this type of circle as well, and they found a way in though, no problem eventually. Did they? It's not easy. Seems like they want to go wide. On the other side would just come into the area of control by F1, and that is BeMyLOOT first to get knocked. Not against one team, 2 teams as well. This assessment of the landscape was insufficient, and that is 2 of them down from that rotation. And that is the issue, right? Knowing when you actually need to take a fight, and that is Conqueror by this by the way. getting found by the side of Lucky Nostra, and Lucky Nostra is still strong. Heavily rewarded from the rotation from the western side, and they last time I saw them, they had 1 kill, now up to 5. Secured at least 13 points in the pocket, and that is Conqueror for now. Still getting that pickup and can still stay here. Be careful though, El Chapo is ready to spray you down, and that buggy will no longer be safe to use, and then we will still need to wait for that blue zone. El Chapo just turned this vehicle into hard cover, blowing up by himself. Heads up play, no need to risk that. Hello Uzbekistan in the chat, some old friends around the community, and F1. You know what? Maybe a game for them to win. Farah still arguably in the circle. Don't know for how long because he's on edge and they're just trying to survive from that smoke. And but the boost is slowly popping his health up, health back to the white range, I should say. And that is Farah actually trying to put some pressure in. And wow, with the blue zone, you know what? The Gods of PUBG is really nice to execution there. And that is what I consider, you know, luck at the same time. But you know what? A lot of teams will execute this type of, you know, luck. Like, given this type of luck, I should say, teams can still execute in a very poor way. But execution has been, you know, showing more and more consistency. So Farah still needing to survive, and this was, if I were him, I'll move the car in just a little bit more. And interesting maneuver there, trying to get info from above the car. Maybe he just lagged out there, and then that is him going down. Probably an internet issue, and sucks to be him, to be fair. Right, that's a little bit anticlimactic. Fuse Batman. F in the chat for Farah. F for Farah. Change your name, change your fate. So we're down to a very interesting 3v, 2v2, but I spoke too soon. It's going to be Conqueror DE, a knock onto Lucky Nostra power, but the trade was there, so 1v1 on this side maybe, but that means that it's F1 getting so much through their pocket, just enjoying what they can get from that hard cover, working bit by bit. You all start from that swim, so it's a good shout by them, proactive one as well, but Ticker is not scared to strike. F1 needs to grab that revive. Not going to be easy. Nat needs to leave the cover to make it through there. If with a brilliant nade, Ticker can do so much work. Seems like he hit some made some damage through that smoke anyway. If that utility is still available, round 2 can make it finish, and that was the case. Ticker takes out F1. Just crawl, man, just crawl. And that is also the time taken by the side of Conqueror D. Grab that revive when Ticker was focused on the other side. It's going to be a 1v2. We saw what Ticker didn't do. We saw XGG trying to get some info from that tree, jumping a little bit behind the tree, using that third person perspective. Very, very important work there. And that is Ticker maybe showing his backpack and then losing his life as well as the chicken dinner. Conqueror DE takes the win with 4 kills, but Ticker and the rest of that Lucky Nostra power squad put up such a good fight, and I really need to give them credit for the rotation in that very, very tricky zone. I mean, that's one of the harshest that I've seen in a while, and you know why it doesn't seem so harsh? I'll tell you why. I think it's because, like I mentioned a bit earlier, execution not using that position advantage. Maybe they could send 1 in or 2 into the circle on that southern side, and then keep 1 or 2 to stop all the rotations from the bridge. They would have taken, I think, 4 or 5 kills doing that, at least forcing teams to go off the bridge. Then by doing that, you can, you know, the coastline, then you take those kills. So I know they've been doing well, better and better, but I think there's definitely ways that they can make it more suppressive right? Like to be more dominating based on what's given to them. And but you know what? Hard one for a lot of these teams. Let's head over to watch a little bit of these highlights. Please don't make me do it again, and it makes me do it again. So I need to make sure that I bring this back to full screen, and then there you go. Enjoy a little bit of that highlight. See? It actually happened. And I couldn't ask for more. Right? 2 kills for Scrim xteam at the start, then a 2v4 by Scrimfall. But you know what? Lost their life eventually to BeMyLOOT, and then RENGERS started the game with duos and will lose their life to Conqueror. And look at NERA here. You know what? Could have done more damage to Pen Most Wanted if he stayed a little bit more patient. But then we also hear side of F1 here. You know, crossing early, very suppressive control for all those fishies trying to cross that field. And cross that water, come on, fishies crossing field doesn't quite make sense. Need to go back to study some biology. And let's have some fights right here. You know, for those who are more patient on that main island, coastline still, NERA was there, so was Take Cover, so they fought a little bit before coming in. And you can see how like a Nostra Power just... Brilliant rotation. That is just how you play it, gents and ladies. Sorry. And execution, last bit of rotation as well. We saw how that went down. And end game mentality. And unlucky for Farah there, how he lost his life. Just an internet issue, I think. So that is that done. Just look at the points right there with the amounts of frag as well. It's balanced between Conqueror DE and like a Nostra Power, 19 points each. Then we have Execution with 13, F1 with 16, BeMyLOOT 10 points. So a lot of these teams slowly showing what they can do. BeMyLOOT has been doing so much work today. So many kills and a lot of placement points. A first position, a second, and a fifth. Quick maths right there, and that is already 33 placement points, then 4 kill points, then 12 somewhere. They easily have had, I don't know, 50 something or 60 points in their pocket. It's just absolutely crazy. Like from 1 day, 4 games, that is something that you want to see. And you know what? A lot of chances for these teams to showcase their skills in these official scrims. So I will see you guys soon. I'm going to take a break now. Okay, probably a break for the rest of today. But you guys can come back tomorrow, not to me, but to the very, very brilliant fellow caster, Maxman will be casting tomorrow's same time tomorrow, 1600, so 4 p.m. CEST. If you're in the UK, it's 3 p.m. and you should see and support him there and see these teams do another round of battle tomorrow. Have a good day and have a good week ahead. I'll see you guys soon. Once again, I'm your host for today, Professor Tarzan. I'll see you on the other side. Bye-bye.